do a little bit of cardio while we answer some questions and comments and whatever is in between. So, like as I always say, cardio as a bodybuilder, you do it because you don't want to reach cardiovascular failure before you you reach muscular failure. So you want for your muscles to fail first before your cardiovascular. So that's one of the main reasons as a bodybuilder you should do a decent amount of cardio. So I think that is my intro all the time. And then we got some questions I got from Facebook. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Oh, interesting one. Somebody asked, is it best to do cardio first, then lift, or lift, then cardio? Personally, my personal experience as a new lifter, or as somebody who recently started the gym, who's trying to build muscle. So your main goal is trying to build muscle, you are new at the gym. I believe we have no business doing cardio before your weight session, because the goal is you try to build muscle, and the same glucose, the same energy that you're gonna use when you're doing cardio is the one that you need for your weight session. So as a new fitness individual, or somebody who's new at the gym trying to build muscle, you have no business doing cardio before your session. If your schedule does not allow, you can do it after. But if your schedule if your schedule does not allow you to do it on a separate day, then you can do it after. But as a new lifter, you got no business doing cardio before your weight session, because that cardio is gonna take away from your weight session, meaning now that the glucose, the energy that you'll be depleting while you're doing your cardio, that will sort of hinder, or that is the same glucose you're supposed to sort of make use of. So as a new lifter, you got no business doing cardio before your session. As an advanced lifter, you can definitely do it before, because as an advanced lifter, you're probably not trying to build any new muscle. I think that is the way I should have phrased it, is that if you have no interest in building new muscle, then you can do your cardio before your weight session. But if you're interested in building new muscle, cardio needs to be on a separate day, because you need all that energy to be invested in your weight session, if especially if you want to build new muscle. So that is my take on that. And if you're prepping for a show, it's slightly different, depending now on your plan, depending how far you are from your goal. You know, there's a lot of sort of variables that are applicable if you're prepping for a show. You know, you may do cardio before your weight session if maybe you're not closer to, or you're not on track with the weight loss, whatever the case is, but that is a different thing. But in general, if you're trying to build new muscle, no cardio before your weight session. But if you have no interest in building new muscle, you can do all the cardio you want, because you're not trying to build muscle. So that is the question, or that's the answer regarding that question about cardio before or after. Let's see what else we have. Okay, here's another one about sort of what time. What's the best time to work out? I think with this one, training in the morning and training in the evening, both they got their own benefits that I've noticed, you know, from all my time at the gym. Thank you so much to everyone who's watching. For any questions or comments, just drop in the chat, and please do all the nice things, subscribe, like, you know, all of that. Oh yes, what is the best time? And then let me know where you're watching from. Yes, please let me know where you're watching from. What is the best time to train? I think with this one, both training in the evening and training in the morning, they both got their own benefits. I think the one I like about training in the morning, you know, hey, Mitz, thank you for watching. If you're new, thank you so much. Kindly subscribe if you can, and like and do the nice things. If you're returning, truly appreciate you. But the main thing I like about training in the morning is that, mostly for somebody who overthinks things, it's like in the morning you just woke up, so you don't have the time to make up excuses on why you shouldn't go to the gym. I think that's one of the main things. And also, you don't really want to be too full, you know, at the gym. And in the morning, you can get away with maybe just drinking coffee and going to the gym. But that is, you know, it must be a quick session, or it must be a moderate session, not like a heavy legs or something like that. So I think that's one of the things I like about training in the morning. You've got no time to convince yourself that you don't need to go. You're out of the way. Start your day on a high note. You can get away with, you know, minimum, you know, empty stomach or a cup of coffee and a banana. You can get away with that. The best thing about training in the afternoon, you can say you're sort of well rested if you have someone who takes naps, and perhaps if it's legs or it's heavy, you've eaten a couple of meals, so the energy resources, they're nice and filled. So if you need to tap into that, you definitely have it. So I think that's one of the main benefits of training in the afternoon is that you've got your meals in, or you've got at least a couple of meals in the system. So low energy or anything energy related, it will not be a factor in the afternoon. Obviously, must getting a couple of meals in. So I think that is my take. So either one, morning, evening, either training, they're different, and both they got their own benefits. Hello Vera, hope you're good. Thank you for watching. Please just do all the nice things, like and all of that. Thank you so much. And then please just let me know where you're watching from, and then if you have any fitness questions or any questions, just drop them in the chat. Let's see what else, what other questions we have from Facebook. Somebody asked, training to failure versus stop or stopping 2 reps before failure, which one builds more muscle? So you see, to this question, I have 2 words, before I explain. But if I had 2 seconds under the question, I would have 2 words. Mike Mense. Okay, it's I actually have 4 words. Mike Mense, Doreen Eat. Solomon, what is good? Thank you for that compliment. Yes, I think I'm pretty strong. Or let's say I am stronger than an average 30-year-old 80-kilogram guy. Yes, let me put it that way. So thank you for that. If you're new, thank you. Kindly subscribe and do all the nice things. If you're returning, appreciate you. Okay, so to the question. Basically, I'm gonna rephrase the question. Maybe the person wants to know, should you reach failure on all the reps? Or meaning now, should you go on until you can't? For those who don't really understand gym lingo. And then the reason why I mentioned those 2 gentlemen, Mike Mense and Doreen Yates, is those two gentlemen believed, or their training philosophy was high intensity training. I'm not sure if that way I phrase it, but I'll explain it. They believe that for muscle growth, you need to have a couple of warm-up sets and then have 1 or 2 sets where you are giving 100%, meaning now that you exhaust or you push the muscle to where you cannot do it anymore. That is the philosophy, or that is my interpretation of their philosophy, that for muscle growth is that you push the muscle to failure for 1 rep. One working set. So meaning now that you can have a couple of warm-ups, but there must be at least one where you're giving maximum effort. Those who don't know about these 2 gentlemen, definitely check YouTube, Google, there's videos about them, there's interpretation of their philosophy, but that is my interpretation, which I believe is not far off from, the philosophy itself. So that is Mike Mense, Dorian Yates. Just a side question on Mike Mense. As far as I know, Mike Mense is the only bodybuilder ever to win a world championship with a perfect score. Meaning now that he got a total, 100 out of 100. Meaning now that the judges, they found no flaws in his body he presented. I think this was in the 1970s or early 80s, around there. So I don't remember any other bodybuilder who has won a show with a perfect score. Maybe they've been, but not on the level that Mike Mense, was competing on, and around that time. I'm sure there's others ones who've won with a perfect score, but maybe, the level was not at the level where, it's mentioned sort of in history, or it's like a milestone. Once again, thank you to everyone that was watching. For any questions, just drop them in the comment. And then just let me know where you're watching from. And please just do all the nice things, subscribe, like, all of that. All of that. So that's my answer to that question about training to failure. That if you are going to follow the philosophy that was sort of pioneered by Mike Mense and later Dorian Yates, previously, the literature says that it's an idea that came from Arthur Jones. Arthur Jones, the literature says that he was watching, I think, one of his animals, like a horse, on how they're building muscle, something along those lines. Then translated that it's into sort of the same ideas on how to build muscle, reaching muscular failure to build muscle. And then Mike Mense took the idea, elevated the idea, or did more research and whatever. And then later Dorian Yates came and sort of also added his own sort of twist, but he had an opportunity to train with Mike Mense. But the philosophy is just make some efforts. That's where you build muscle. So failure is possibly close all the time, or the set that you do last, maximum effort, closer to failure, or even failure. But obviously with failure you need a spotter. So that is recommended. You don't don't push it to that far without a spot, unless you're now using machines. With machines, there's risk of injury is very minimal. Let's see what else we have from Facebook. Okay, here's another one that is also training related. Somebody asked, no, not somebody, the person's name is Virat Katur. What is more important, heavyweight or perfect form? This one, it's important that when you at the gym, you don't forget your goal. Meaning now that if you are a power lifter, your goal is to move the weight, within, you know, the rules, or within. Oh, shit. My little brother's just joined. I wonder why he's not sleeping. He's also suffering. Yo, Bavo. I think he's also maybe suffering from what I'm suffering. Couldn't sleep. So I jumped on my bike because I don't have a bike to go outside, and I wouldn't have even went if I had a bike. So I decided to jump on the bike, and then I'm just streaming and then answering some questions. Before, what are you up to? Before I get to, I think this is the last question I'm gonna answer. What is this man up to? Okay, I don't know what you're up to. Whatever you're up to, hope you're safe. Hope you're safe. Hope you're safe. Yes. So the question is, what is more important, heavyweight or perfect form? So, accept the request, he said. Let me see. Give me a moment. Accept the request. I can't never much. No man, resend the request or to resend it already. Don't accept. I see something's flashing on the screen. Give me a moment. Amen. Okay, here we go. I think I got it. I think I got it. It's loading. I think it's loading. Okay, we have a guest on the thing. Okay, it's not really a guest. It is blood of my blood. If the thing would allow for the blood of my blood to jump in. I did accept. It's just taking a while. I'm gonna get back to the questions. The last question. I'm just quickly accepting a guest on Twitter. Those who are watching from YouTube, I'm also on Twitter, but definitely not gonna hear if Twitter. No, it's not Twitter. I'm so wrong. It's not Twitter. TikTok, I meant. TikTok. But TikTok is not allowing the guest. I think it's the network. Either on my side or his side or whatever the case is. But while we wait for that, this thing. Yeah, while I wait for that, I'm gonna continue with the question. As I said, the question is heavyweight or perfect form. So I was saying that it is important that you don't forget your goal, why you are at the gym. Are you there to build muscle, or are you there to move the weight? Because if you're there to move the weight, it means now your main goal is just to move the weight in whatever form or whatever, within the confines or within the limits of your sport. And then if your goal is to build muscle, you need to build muscle in you can build muscle without the thing that they call the perfect form, because the perfect form it's where, like when you're pressing, like you need to full range, full range. That is what I interpret as perfect form. But now when you're building muscle, you can maybe build muscle with the movement, just this much movement, because you're feeling it, or you're stimulating the muscle. And maybe when you get to here, maybe you don't feel anything when you get here. And then when you get here, maybe there's also nothing. So you try and keep it just right there. So meaning now that to someone who's watching, that could be interpreted as bad form. But you, as someone who wants to build muscle, that range of motion, it's enough for you to stimulate and you feel it on the muscle that you're trying to build. So that is my response to that question, that when you go to the gym, you need to remember your goal, or remember why you're there. Are you a bodybuilder? Are you a weightlifter? Are you a power lifter? All those kind of things. Because perfect form for a power lifter and a bodybuilder, it means different. Because remember, power lifter, it's all about power. They need to move the weight. Bodybuilder, you're strictly trying to build muscle. That is what you're trying to do. So I think that is my response to that question, is that don't forget your goal. Perfect form does not apply across everyone. As I said, there's power lifters, there's weight lifters, there's bodybuilders, there's CrossFit guys, there's those who do high rocks and all of that. So perfect form, is different for different athletes. I can put it that way. So that is that. Thank you to those who are watching. Please subscribe and do all nice things. Definitely want to see you soon. Thank you.